Gotta go. I'm coming, I'm hurrying.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Somebody was late this morning.
It was her.
No, it wasn't. I've been ready forever.
Okay, fine. It was me.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just enjoying a little bit of a slow morning, and I got a little too slow. And so I apologize for making us late this morning. I'm looking up.
Well, you are forgiven.
Oh, see.
I extended the scepter.
We watched that Hadassah movie last night.
Yes. Yes, we did. No, good morning, everybody. It's so good to see you today. Couple things before I forget, because we've been forgetting to say this. If you haven't already, go and subscribe. We invite you. Let me just rephrase that.
Go do it.
That's how I talk to my kids sometimes. But now that they're older. But we invite you to subscribe.
Hey, Jolene Darty.
Hello, Jolene.
Hey, so good to see you. That's awesome.
We invite you guys to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's called The Holomans. And if you subscribe and then put the little bell, click on the bell, it'll give you notifications. Our goal is to actually go live on YouTube.
Yes.
Right now we'd have to bring out the computer, and it just doesn't work that way with us. We're in the wood shop. So
no, this is
the
wood shop studio.
That's right. Yes.
Selah named our little place.
Yes,
this
she
is
did.
my. Oh, one day we'll need to come do a tour. Well, I might want to clean it up a little bit, but it's.
Yes, you might want to clean it up a little bit.
I need help. I have asked for help.
We've given you help.
I need more help.
Okay. And so anyway, the other thing is I just started a Holoman family Instagram account. So if you're on Instagram,
I gotta go find that.
That's where you can, I do some posts more towards family stuff. And so that's where you can come and check that out. If not, you can just follow our feed on Facebook. Because right now we are mainly on Facebook. But I'm migrating over.
And I have a question to put out there that people can put in the comments.
Yes, please.
So why do you use whatever social media platform is yours? So if you use Facebook, why do you use Facebook? If you use Instagram, why have you chosen Instagram? Because we're still trying to learn all of this. If you use a different one, like, I don't know, Snapchat or what some of the other ones.
Well, TikTok. I'm not sure I can dive into that right now.
Yeah, whatever it is. I mean, whatever your platform is of choice. I'd love to hear, or we'd love to hear
what your preference is.
Why is it your preference?
Yes.
What do you like about it? What do you not like about it? Just because we're trying to learn more on how to just
better serve everybody.
Yeah, reach people, better serve people, be able to connect with everyone in an easier way.
Yes.
And all of that.
And to just explain, we have started something new. The first week of the month is always about relationships, like marriage or dating relationships, romantic relationships, that kind of a thing. Some relational tips for friendships and things like that. The second week is always on parenting, and then the third week is about discipleship. But what we're talking about today is really how discipleship equals friendship. Yeah. And so we're going to unpack that all week. So if you have any questions about that and all of that, please comment and all the things. And then the last week of the month is always going to be like what Audra calls the mailbag.
So if you have questions, please send them in. We'd love to hear them.
And it can be random questions. It doesn't have to be related to anything we've said so far. It can just be a God question that you've always wondered about. And we
would love to have somebody
Brad does really good with that.
I love
and
those.
I love
That's my
to
interject.
The other thing is, while you're watching, I would love it if you can, like, if we make you laugh, go ahead and do the laughy button. If you love something we said, go ahead. It helps us with the feedback, but it also helps the algorithm, and it makes everything get out there for more people to watch. And so just respond and engage with us with those little, you'll see them if you're on your phone. They're at the bottom, and you can actually emoji us, and then, or you can comment. So we would love that. And if you're watching by replay, please, please, please go ahead and, what are you reading?
A comment. There was a comment. I'm just trying to say.
I don't remember what I was saying. What was I saying?
You were saying just emoji us. Treat us emojily. Emojify us.
There you go.
Our emojis are tender. So
without further ado, I'm going to let you go ahead and kick it off. I know you have some thoughts for us.
Well, no, just as we talk about talk about discipleship. And hey, number one, you and Audra did just a great job yesterday. So go back and watch yesterday's. It was awesome. And tomorrow's, I know they're going to pick up on some more of that. It's amazing. Some of the stuff that Audra is learning as she's in missions and the people that the Lord has connected her with. Yeah, I'm really excited.
Yes.
I think she
it brings a lot to what we're going to be
yes,
doing.
It's kind of one of those things when you find those serendipitous moments in life when you're like going, ooh, there's an answer. Ooh, there's some stuff there. And so it's kind of one of those times. But, we have talked a lot about that, about what we call relational discipleship or friendship discipleship. And so I'm going to read a passage from John 15. We're very, very familiar with this passage. This is the one where in around verse 13, Jesus says, greater love has no one than this, that he lay down his life for his friends, right? You are my friends if you do whatever I command. No longer do I call you servants, because a servant doesn't know what the master is doing.
Right.
But I now call you friends, for all things I have heard from my Father, I will make known to you. Right? And then there's another verse I love. You didn't choose me, but I chose you and appointed you that you would bear much fruit. So in this one little passage, it's an interesting thing. Jesus talks to us, and I've looked at about a shift, right? A shift from servant to friend.
I like that.
Right. And what happens in that shift. There's a lot we could unpack, and I'm getting even more now that I got to see what's for me and what's for you.
Yeah.
But I've looked at that passage and go, wow, so there was a time period apparently in Jesus's relationship with, I call them the boys, in Jesus' relationship with the 12, the boys, where they were servant oriented or service oriented, not necessarily friendship oriented. And listen, I think so many of us, that's how we live with the majority of our relationships.
Oh, yeah.
The majority of our relationships are service oriented, not friendship oriented.
That's really good.
Right? I mean, again, you can do that even in marriage, even something that's close. There's many people who live a married life and it's service oriented. What can you do for me?
Yes.
What can I do for you?
Yeah.
How can you meet my needs? How can I meet your needs? And it's certain. Now, please hear me. We understand that that's not bad. That's not meaning people are being evil or wicked or mean or bad or none of that, because we understand that the pathway to greatness in the kingdom is service, right? The pathway to, that proverbial, to go up in the kingdom of God, you go down.
Right.
Right. So what Jesus and the disciples had when there was servant oriented wasn't bad. It wasn't evil. It was just servant oriented.
I think it all has to start there in a sense. That's where it starts. But if it never moves on from there to something deeper,
yes,
then you don't get to enjoy the deeper, right?
Yes.
Like if I've been part of church and all the things for 40 plus years, and I just still see myself as God's servant, then I haven't moved into richer times with him as his daughter and as his friend. There's just a different aspect to each one of those. I hesitate to call them levels, because it's not necessarily this one has to come first and then that one has to come and then you've really arrived if you that's not what we're saying. But there's just a different aspect. For example, it's like wearing hats, right? Brad is my friend. I call him my forever spend the night buddy. Right? But he's also my husband. And then he's also a spiritual leader to me. I have, I know he's a pastor, but at the same time, a lot of the times when he's speaking to our church, I'm like, wow, you're reading my mail and you didn't even know it. And so I'm open to him pastoring me, right? Therefore I get to enjoy the fruit of that. I get to actually draw on that gifting in him. But if I did not consider him my pastor in that sense, someone who can pastor me, then that whole aspect of that possibility of the relationship would be shut off to me. Yeah. So that's all we're saying.
Well, and so, because I want to unpack this a little bit with the time that we have, is because if we can do we could probably substitute the word servant for acquaintance. And it would make a little bit more sense to us. Right? Because what Jesus was saying was, because even in acquaintanceship, because we all have acquaintances, people that we know, but we don't really know them.
Right.
And those relationships are typically based on what we do for each other.
Yes.
We share a common interest. We share a common place, like a workplace, a workspace place. Is it the word? We share some kind of commonality. We share, school, whatever, hobbies. We share this thing. And we are friends, or friendly. We are acquaintances. And that acquaintanceship is built primarily on service. This is what I do for them. This is what they do for me. And we do those things willingly. No one is coercing.
Absolutely, no.
It's all, I'm glad to serve my acquaintances.
Yeah.
I'm glad to do things for them and love on them with the gifts and the abilities that I have, and vice versa. And, but we're still just acquaintances.
Right.
We're still just servants. Right?
That's good.
But see, Jesus here, the interesting thing, when we talk about discipleship, and really if you talk about being disciple makers, I like something Audra, I think she said yesterday, I know we've talked a lot, we are always we're always being discipled, or should be.
Yes.
We are always a disciple, and we should always be a disciple maker.
Right.
There's like these three things that are going on constantly as we follow Jesus. And all the disciple means, that's a very Christianese word, it just means one who follows.
Yes.
That's all a disciple is. Someone who follows. And that following means one who imitates, one who does things in the same manner. Right? We would call, like, the idea would be following a pattern. Right? Someone, the pattern maker created something, and the disciple is the pattern follower. They're following the pattern of the maker. That's why Paul later, and Paul says, hey, listen, just imitate me.
Yeah.
When you kind of don't know what to do, just imitate me, because I'm doing my best to imitate Jesus. Right? Yeah. Hey, use my life as a pattern. He says to Timothy, hey, the things you heard, the things you saw, the things you experienced with me, do those things and teach other people to do those things.
There's this constant modeling of how to walk in the things of the Lord.
That's right.
And how to follow, and how to listen, and how to learn, and all of that.
But apparently, according to Jesus, when those things begin to grow deeper, but there's got to be a better way we got to find another way to say, because even that whole going deeper, yes, we're deep. And what does deep mean, right? Well, Jesus tells us deep looks like a friend. Well, okay, then Jesus, what does a friend look like? Well, he tells you this. He says, hey, listen, a friend gives up his life. A friend follows commands.
Right.
Right? A friend gets to know the plan.
Right.
Right?
That's the one that stands out to me.
A friend chooses even when it's not convenient. So see, Jesus in this one little passage, do y'all see that? I'm going to go back and read it, because again, this is all fresh and new. I don't know if I've ever said this or taught this before, so I do think this is by the Holy Spirit. He says this, he says, greater love than no one has than this, than he lays down his life for a friend. So apparently, and that word life there is not just talking about like your physical life, because it's very rare that any one of us is going to be able to jump in front of a bullet or push somebody out of the way of that bus and die ourselves. It might go there.
Yeah.
But here really, years ago I looked at that word life there, and it means your soul.
Yeah.
It means your interests, your desires, your passions, your opinions, Okay, a friend lays down his soul for a friend. That's a different way to look at that.
Yeah.
A friend doesn't, a friend lays down his personality. Yeah. For the sake of his friend. Yes. He gives up no greater love than this. Listen to me. You said something yesterday that said, we are in the last days. Yes. Because primarily we are all lovers of ourself.
Right. This is the antithesis to that.
That's what Jesus. Yeah. So even this, have you noticed these words have now become, very common on the lips of our culture? Narcissism.
Yeah.
Right?
A little too quick, actually.
He's narcissist. She's narcissist. And I'm like going, I almost feel like the Princess Bride. I do not think you know what that word means. But really, many times what happens is, if we're not careful, when things get that broad, it's projection, psychologically speaking.
Oh, yeah.
I'm calling you a narcissist because I'm actually one. Because I'm thinking about me.
Because people are throwing around that term way too quickly.
Because we're all way too throwing that term around, right? Again, this kind of that's a mark of the end times. We're living in that time. Well, Jesus said, hey, listen, you want to have great love? You want to experience greatness of love?
Yeah.
He goes, man, just lay down your soul.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put your soul down. Well, you know, and it's going, well, you're asking me, again, I said, and might shock some of you, that includes your personality. Well, you're wanting me to be different than myself. I got to be true to myself. Well, apparently the Apostle Paul didn't think that. He says, I'm going to be whatever I need to be
in order to
win people's hearts.
Yeah.
So if I've got to be more like the Jewish legalist, even though I'm not under the law, man, I can go there.
Yeah.
If I've got to be like the weak-souled person, man, I can go there. Man, if I can, Paul was like, and we go, well, that's just being a chameleon. No, that might just be loving people.
Where they're at.
That might just be being a friend. This is the kind of thing, again, I don't want to do that. My kids, well, let's go. I don't want to do that. I'm not interested in that. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, no, friends are like, okay, am I interested in that? No, but I'm interested in you.
Right. Exactly.
I'm interested in you. So what do you like to do? Well, I've never done that before. I'll give it a go. Doesn't mean I have to take it on as my own hobby.
Right, exactly.
But it doesn't mean I can't do it.
Right.
Or I should go back and go, again, have you seen that is in the height of picky eating? And I'm not just talking about kids. I know some adults that are still incredibly picky eaters.
Yeah.
Why? Self-centeredness.
Like you make them a meal and you make all this stuff because they're coming over and they won't. No. I don't like that.
Well, I don't like that. I don't do that.
Okay,
I don't
wow.
do that. Again. Anyway, so I can get off. I'm not trying to pick on anybody. But listen, but Jesus is talking about the difference between servant-centered
Yes.
and actually friend-centered.
Yeah.
And when we can, when we can shift a relationship from servant-centered to friend-centered, we actually enter into a depth of life that we find nowhere else.
Yes. Absolutely.
There is a depth of discipleship. There's a depth of sharing of faith. There's a depth of community living. There is a depth that is available when we go from just being servant-centered to being actual friend-centered.
And I will say this, it's very powerful when you have friends and you are all encouraging and inspiring each other to do great things for God. So I think a lot of times when we're just in the acquaintance circle, it's more about just day-to-day life, day-to-day survival, if you will, day-to-day stuff. And just, well, I need this right now, and it's just the need I have right now, and whatever. But the moment you are engaged with your purpose, we know this because when you have a purpose given to you by God, it's going to be way bigger than you could ever fulfill. And you need to be surrounded by people. He'll send you the people and the resources, but at the same time, he'll send you the friendships that will encourage you, inspire you, be there for you as you pursue your purpose. So it's almost like when you're just in the servant aspect of the relationship, it's more daily stuff, just whatever. But the moment you engage purpose and you're wanting to go there with people, it requires that whole, friends help you accomplish the purpose.
Well,
right?
Here's the thing. Here's the next. You're on the next thing.
Oh.
So because remember we're talking, and again I'm gonna have to unpack this over the next little bit. So I'm watching the time, and so I'm just gonna have to come back on this one. But so Jesus said, so what does a friend look like? Someone who lays down their soul. What does a friend look like? Verse 14. He says, you are my friends if you do whatever I command. Now listen, he didn't say whatever you like, whatever I request. Oh, please, would you do me a favor? No, Jesus said, hey, listen, real friendship has room for commands. Do you have people in your life? Do I have people in my life that they can look at me and go, Brad, you need to stop doing that. And you need to do this. I love you, man. You're my friend. But you keep going this way. You need to put the Krispy Kreme donut down and eat an apple, right? So I really.
I'm the only one on planet Earth that has ever said that to Brad Hall.
Well, listen to me. In our culture, but in our culture, that would be. You can't tell. I mean, this again. You can't tell me what to do. Who are you to tell me what to do? Well, maybe I thought I was your friend. Maybe because it surely wasn't easy for me to tell you. It surely I wasn't telling you because it was convenient for me. I wasn't telling you because I was telling you because I love you enough to go, you might want to have a
little smudge right
there. Yeah, have you thought about, again, even that kind of stuff. Hey, listen, you got a booger hanging out your nose. Why don't you go blow your nose? That's a command. Right.
Yeah.
Hey, Brad, your fly's down. Yeah. But Jesus said, hey, listen, real friendship has room for command. Apparently. Well, wait a minute. I thought you said servant because we think in our mind, well, no, servants are the ones who get commands. Don't treat me like a servant. Well, Jesus said, no, listen, if you're my friend, you'll do what I tell you to do.
Yeah.
Here's something, again, we got to end on this thought for time's sake. Jesus said that, hey, if you love me, obey me. Now, again, and I understand, and I know, and just go ahead and send all the comments. Yes, I understand Jesus is Lord, and yes, I understand I am not. Okay,
yes.
So please, I understand the a little bit of that disparity that Jesus is the Lord, right? But also know this: He is the Lord of Lords.
That's me.
That's me. I am a little Lord.
Yeah.
And again, we understand that done in love, no one is lording over
That's right.
anybody.
It's iron sharpening iron. It doesn't mean that only one person in that friendship gets to give the command.
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
If the other friend knows there's something going on in my life, then of course there's room for command there as well.
I'll tell this last story, and I appreciate it. And if he's watching, I don't know if you're out there, but his name is Roland Ma, and I love Brother Roland. Because Brother Roland, and I didn't realize it at the time until later, Brother Roland was being a friend to me.
Yes.
And even though I was the pastor of the church, and he was so I was his pastor, he was one of our churchgoers.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget, one Sunday, he walks up and says, hey, Brad, can I talk to you for a second? And I said, sure. So we kind of stepped away from the group, and we kind of went off to the side in the lobby there of the church. And he says, hey, everything okay with you and Selena? And I was like, yeah. Yeah. Why? Why do you ask? What? He goes, oh, well, I just never see you holding her hand. I just never see you, kind of loving on her, showing her any kind of affection. So I just was wanting to make sure y'all okay. And I remember going, oh, okay. And now I look back and go, what a masterful way to be a friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
That I was so grateful and still am so grateful. I know she is much grateful.
One of my love languages is physical
touch. But to sit there and that someone loved me enough to go, hey, that's not good.
Yeah.
Someone loved me enough to challenge me and go, hey, I'm observing this, and this is what that looks like.
Yes.
I could have said, well, blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm the pastor here, bless God. Don't you understand?
Can I just say that we've made some mistakes in areas where we were not adept? Mm-hmm. And I really wish some friends would have just stepped up and told us, I wouldn't do that.
I wouldn't do that.
I'm good in that area. and I see red flags everywhere. You shouldn't do that.
You shouldn't do that.
I really wish we could have had that kind of friendship.
Yeah. See, because again, real friendship, there's room for command.
Yeah.
There's room, if we don't like that word, there's room for instruction, but not just suggestion.
Right.
There's a difference
Advice,
between
lightly given.
Yeah, there's a difference between instruction and advice and suggestion. Advice and suggestion are, if you want to, do it or not.
Yeah.
But instruction is hey, you need to not do this.
I love you.
And you need to do this. Because I love you,
Yeah.
I see you doing this, and you need to stop doing this, and you need to do this.
Yes.
Right? And so you realize that if there's no weight for command in your relationship, if there's no weight for instruction in your relationship, then you don't have a friendship. You just have servants.
So I had a friend several years ago, way back, and they were trying to get pregnant, and I said, okay, well, tell me, like, are you guys on any medication or anything? And she goes, yeah, my husband, he takes blood pressure meds. He's just been on them for so long. And I said, I bet you if he comes off those meds, you guys will get pregnant. And she's like, really? I didn't even think about that. Well, sure enough, they started pursuing getting him off his meds, and within 2 months, she was pregnant. And she's been pregnant several times since. And she's my age. And I was like, that was amazing. There's little humans here because somebody was open to the command.
Yeah.
If you get off these, you'll have this. Do it, girl. If you're really wanting a baby, right?
Yeah.
So that's the kind of friendship with command like that. It brings life.
It brings life.
Right?
So anyway, we got to land the plane there because I hate to. I could keep going. So remind me, before we're done, we need to pick up on this, even if we have to do a special episode, because there's still 2 more.
Okay.
Right, that are in there that we're seeing. But this is important. Listen, it's that shift.
Yeah.
And I think it is something we can get into.
Yes.
It takes willingness on both sides of the equation, right, to move it. But Jesus says, man, but there is something. There's some new life on the other side of this kind of shift. You were once this. You were once just servants.
Yeah.
But now I call you friends. Why? Because we're going to lay down our soul for each other. Why? Because we're going to open up ourselves to command for each other. And there's some more stuff we'll cover later. Hey, listen, got to run. Check out thehollemans.com.
Yes.
And there's all kinds of stuff there. Again, there's a give button there. If you wanted to give, we would say thank you very much.
Yes.
Appreciate it. It helps us do this. It helps us to produce more content that's coming.
Yes.
We thank everyone who has given and is giving. Very, very
so
grateful.
Faithfully. Thank you so
much. Thank you so much. And we will see you guys tomorrow.
Yes, that's right.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.